Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
So today we're taking a look at Meerkat Kingdoms by MV Board Games.
Meerkat Kingdoms, aka Kalahari, if you were familiar with this game before the name change. This comes to us from BoardGameGeek, and it is coming to crowdfunding here in the very near future. So after you watch this video, make sure to check out the link down below in the description to check out the campaign page and get all the details on this game. Now, this is an area majority dice rolling game, and what you are going to be doing is controlling your army of meerkats in the Kalahari Desert. And you will be rolling 3 dice on your turn and choosing 2 of the 3 dice to determine where you get to put your meerkats on that turn. The 3rd die will determine how many meerkats you get to put out, possibly your queen meerkat. And essentially what you're trying to do is control as many different tiles before the end of the game, and you want to try to get rid of your meerkats as quickly as possible for maximum points. Let's go down to the table, I'll show you how this one works, and then we'll come back and share thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer. Alright, I have Meerkat Kingdoms on the table. Let me show you all this area control game. Now, I do want to make sure you understand that everything you see here is prototype, so the final artwork components, maybe even some of the rules, might change once it's released from crowdfunding. That being said, what you have for components, you're going to have 10 tiles that make up the central playing area of this game. Those tiles are going to have numbers on them that are ranging from 12 all the way down to 3. In addition to these tiles, you are going to have tokens that go on some of the tiles. You're going to have this male meerkat be on one tile at the beginning of the game. You do have a scoreboard that will keep track of your points at the end of the game. You have a couple of cloth bags that are going to hold some of the tokens in them. You'll be drawing from those bags throughout the course of the game. You've got some cubes, you have some dice, and you have player boards that also contain your army of meerkats. As you can see here, I've got my army of blue meerkats down in the den, and you have your lone queen. This queen stands upright and tall. That's how you know she's the queen, and she counts as 2.5 meerkats. Let's get that in focus so you can see her there. Now, how this game is going to work, this is an area control game, and so the idea here is to have the maximum influence on these tiles, beating out the other players, if you can, at the end of the game. And how you'll do that is you'll roll these dice. Now, in a lower player count game, you could include the Otama, and the Otama is going to roll this die to determine what they end up doing with their dice rolls. But for now, I'm going to leave this off to the side. Just know you can play this game with an extra dummy player. Now, you can't solo this necessarily, but that dummy player will act as kind of someone out here who is also competing with you. Now, a turn is going to work when you roll these 3 dice, and you can re-roll your dice 1 time, and then you're locked into whatever you have. Now, with 2 of your dice, you will be combining them together to determine the tile that you are getting to play towards for that turn. So I could combine these 2 to get to play off of tile number 8, or I could combine these 2 right here to get to play off of tile number 7, or I could combine these 2 right here to play off of tile number 5. Now, whatever the combination I make, so let's say that I go with this one, 3 and 5 makes 8. The other die gets to determine how many meerkats I get to place. Now, just because this is a 2 does not mean that I get to place 2 meerkats. If you roll a 1 or a 2, you get to place 1 meerkat. If you roll a 2 or a 3, you get to place 2 meerkats. And if you roll a 5 or a 6, you get to place 3 meerkats. Or you get to place your queen. So let me make sure I said that correctly, because I think I might have made a mistake. 1 or 2, you place 1. 3 or 4, you get to place 2. And then 5 or 6, you place 3 meerkats or your queen. Hopefully I got that right that time. Now, So with this being what I have rolled here, I could place one meerkat on tile number 8, and I'm going to go ahead and do that, placing this one meerkat out here on tile 8. Now, as you can see, some tiles have some things on them, such as these blue tokens, and tile 8 in particular has the male meerkat. Now, let's talk about the male meerkat first. Now, I keep saying male meerkat. That's because all of your meerkats are females. He is the only male in the game. And maybe you can get at what I'm getting at here, but when females and males get together, something happens. You make babies. These are pups. So these are the baby meerkats. And so the first thing that's going to happen when you visit the tile with the male meerkat, you're going to gain 1 cube. That is a pup that will go to your top right portion of your board, this area right here. And you'll want to try to get up to at max 4 of these by the end of the game to maximize your points. We'll come back to what those are for here in just a minute. But then, you know, he is a kind of a sleazeball because he's going to leave you in the middle of the night, and you're going to roll 2 dice to determine where he goes. Now, if you ever roll snake eyes when you're moving the male meerkat, you're going to roll him again, but snake eyes on your turn is actually really good, and I'll explain that here in just a second. But we've rolled 5, so he's going to travel on down to number 5, and then, because you're desperate and you're lonely, you could move one of your meerkats anywhere on the board 1 space closer towards him. This is a random setup here. We've shuffled all the tiles, but you do want to kind of have them in this pattern because you want to have some tiles adjacent to other tiles. So my one meerkat out here, it could move 1 space closer towards him, which would be 1 space there to tile number 6, if I wanted to do that. Now let's talk about these blue tokens right here. These blue tokens, whenever you place a meerkat on it from your dice roll, not from just moving like we just did, but from your dice roll, you get to do the action that is on that token, and the actions are described to you on your player reference. Now, whenever you do the blue ones will actually come off the board. You'll draw from the blue bag, replacing them with more blue tokens, but when the blue bag runs out, then you will start drawing from the brown bag, and the brown bag is actually going to have some bad tiles on them. They are going to have red sides on the fronts of them, showing you bad hazards or dangers, threats, such as coyotes or fire or hawks coming and taking out your meerkats. And so if that had happened, let's say that it happened right here. We've got the fire. Oh no, I have to lose a meerkat. These bad things do certain things to either your tile or the tiles that are around you. Now, if you have your queen meerkat out here, though, she's going to protect you from all the bad ones. So that's one of the benefits to having her. She also counts as 2.5 meerkats in and of herself. So she is the big boss. And so she'll hopefully help you win a tile if you have her out here. Now, that's how the tokens are going to work. Now, these red ones do flip over to become these more positive ones, and they are permanent. They never remove off the board once they become on turn over onto this orange side. Now, how the rest of the game is going to work. I mentioned earlier, if you roll snake eyes on your turn, that's really good because when you combine snake eyes, it means you get to go to any tile you want. There is no tile number 2 out here, so you get to pick whatever tile you want to go to. You could, however, forego everything that I've talked about. Let's say you roll the dice, you get some really crummy roll, you re-roll the dice, and you get another crummy roll. You really don't like your roll, and so you could forego your entire turn and instead take one of your meerkats, placing that meerkat up here next to any pups you might have in this top right portion of the board, and they become a guardian. Now, what guardians are going to do, they serve one of 2 purposes. The first could be that at the end of the game, they will score you points, being a multiplier off of your pups. So at max, you can have 4 guardians and 4 pups. And you'll multiply however many guardians you have by however many pups you have, and those are points at the end of the game. So 4 times 4 is a maximum of 16 points. Now, there is another thing that guardians could do for you instead of multiplying with your pups. We'll come back to that at in-game scoring. I do also want to point out you do have some burrow actions on your player board right here. You have 5 of them. They are one-time use, and you do have to burn one of your meerkats. You don't literally kill them. You just put them in these burrows, and you cannot use them for the rest of the game. And these different actions allow you to do something special at the end of your turn, such as moving one of your Meerkats to an adjacent spot, moving your queen 2 spaces, swapping one of your Meerkats with another player's Meerkat anywhere on the board, moving one of those tokens to a new tile, and it does not have to be blue, even though the icon shows it being blue. And then this is getting to do that meeting up with the male Meerkat action without actually having to go to the male Meerkat. So again, these are one-time use, and you do use up one of your Meerkats to be able to do them. Your game is going to come to an end whenever you have used up all of your Meerkats. If you've placed out all of your Meerkats or placed them in burrow actions or up here in your guardian hole, then your game is over. And if you are the first player to do that, then you will get 9 bonus points. The second will get 6, the third will get 3, and whoever is last will get nothing. And once the second to last player finishes their game, then the other player will get 2 more turns to be able to finish out their game. And then at that point, their game is over, regardless of whether they've placed out all of their Meerkats or not. Now, at the end of the game, you will score these tiles in order, starting from the one that is the lowest, and whoever has the most Meerkats on that tile is going to get the most points. And remember, the queen counts as 2.5 Meerkats. Now, ties are super unfriendly in this game, so let's say that let's have 2 blue Meerkats without the queen, and 2 red Meerkats, and 1 green Meerkat here on tile number 6. If we tie, blue and red is tied, then they both basically kill each other off. Green is the lone one left there, and so green gets to take all the points from first for themselves, even though they didn't have the most Meerkats on that tile. So ties are super unfriendly, and that would work out the same way if there was a tie for second or a tie for third. You'll score these in order, so 3 to 4 to 5, so on and so forth, keeping track of the points as you go along. Now, coming back to your guardians in your guardian hole up here, I mentioned earlier there's another use that you could use them for if you don't want to multiply them, and that is you could affect some last-second scoring out here. If you win a tile, let's say that I did win this as the blue player here, when tile number 6 scores, which again, these are in order, I win tile number 6, and whenever you win a tile, you can place out one of your guardians from your board onto a tile that has not yet scored. So from 6, I could place it on 8 and get some points off of 8 if that were to push me ahead of the other players. Now, I don't get to keep them here for that multiplier, but I would hopefully score some points placing them out here instead. And yeah, that's the gist of the game. You'll score all of the tiles, noting that the higher number tiles give more points. So tile number 12 is going to give you lots of points. And whoever has the most points is going to be the winner, and that is how you play Meerkat Kingdoms. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this one. And we're back, and we're going to share our thoughts here on Meerkat Kingdoms from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. So Sam, as I mentioned at the top of this video, this game used to be called Kalahari. It is now Meerkat Kingdoms, in case there's any confusion about that. And it takes place in the Kalahari Desert with meerkats. I wanted to bring that up because I love the way the game looks. I like the artwork. I like the way it looks out on the table. Definitely has this kind of almost beautiful kind of desert theme to it. What did you think about the table presentation of this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a simple setup, but, you know, I like all the colorful meerkats and everything.
Right.
And,
yeah.
You know, it looks like a lot of fun.
I mean, who doesn't like meerkats, right? Like that's, I think that's cool. I don't know. I think a lot of people would agree with me out there that meerkats are cool.
I think most people would not care either way about meerkats.
Oh my gosh, whatever. Anyway, I think you're right that they're colorful and it has an inviting look to it out on the table. Let's talk about the gameplay experience. Now, this is an area majority and you're trying to have, you know, the maximum, or not maximum, but you're trying to have the most on each tile.
Yeah.
And you don't want to tie in this game.
Yeah.
Ties are so bad in this game. What did you think about that, the gameplay experience here?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty easy to figure out. You know, roll your dice and pick which ones how many meerkats you're gonna put out there. And we played with 4 people, and I do think I typically tend to like 2-player games better. That's because that's 90% of what we play. But I did think this was a better game with 4 players.
Yeah.
I think with 2 it would have been.
Well, so yeah, I mean, I think you're right. If you're playing with higher player counts, you're going to have more competition, more excitement for competing for those different tiles out there. Lots more twists and turns likely to happen because with every person's turn, things are going to change out on the board.
Yeah.
When you're playing with 2 people, that's not as likely to happen. But there is still that competition, and you're just going to be competing with fewer numbers, if that makes sense. You're not going to see somebody win a tile with 7, 8 meerkats in a 2-player game. More than likely, it's going to be like 2 or 3 kind of thing, which can be kind of interesting too in and of itself. But no, I think you're right. It does really work well at the 3 and 4 player count. I played this one at all player counts, and I think it works just fine. 45 to 60 minutes is what it says on the box, but I never felt like it really felt like that long.
Maybe 40 minutes top.
Yeah.
I
don't know. It's an easy enough game. I mean, turns are snappy. You're just rolling the dice and choosing if you're gonna, combine these 2 or those 2. So turns are really pretty simple in this game. I mean, did you find yourself figuring out what you wanted to do and navigate through this game really well?
I think all 4 of us that played were really good about putting our meerkats out. And then at the end, which I do think worked for all of us, then we used our little track where we could...
The burrow actions.
Yeah, which at the beginning you don't really need the burrow actions. But I think almost all of us played that way, where we had a majority of our stuff out, and then we started kind of messing with each other. But it didn't feel like a take that. It was pretty mild.
And it is very strategic.
Yeah.
So those burrow actions aren't necessarily there for you to just have a quick gotcha. No, they're there for you to be like, I am planning this out for the perfect time.
Yeah.
And it does sting, don't get me wrong.
But I've had games where it's like, that ruins everything.
It does not ruin everything. When somebody does it to you, you're kind of like, wow, that was really pretty clever. I can't even be mad about that.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I was.
Anyway, those burrow actions I feel they add quite a bit of spiciness to the game, that just kind of like, oh my gosh moments when somebody does that thing that you just weren't even thinking about, and then it's like, wow, that's really cool. So I like the in-game moments too, and scoring those tiles is kind of interesting, especially when you consider that ties are so bad. Ties kill you. You don't want to tie in this game. So there's some excitement in trying to inch ahead right before the very end of the game, and then you score it. And even then, even things can change once that's over, as people place out some of their guardians or whatever they're called. If you win a tile, and you can have some last-second influence on a tile that really swings it for you. So the end game is exciting in this one. I don't know. I think this is a really fun game, all in all. Is it one that you would recommend playing with non-gamers?
Yeah, I think it's a great one. It says 12 plus. I feel like our younger kids could play it. So I think it's a good one. We haven't played it with our kids yet, but I think we definitely could.
I think it would be a great family game. So yeah. The game is Meerkat Kingdoms, aka Kalahari. It is from BoardGameGeek. Leave us some comments down below. Let us know what you think about this one.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.